Welcome to another episode of the Nines presented by AT&T. I'm Bonnie Cristo. I am once again all alone in the Cloud9 studio. But I'm not alone digitally, because joining me this week is going to be Nisqy, who is coming off of a back and forth weekend, we'll say. There were some ups and downs. It was a roller coaster for many Cloud9 fans. Was it a roller coaster for you too, Nisqy?
Yeah, it definitely was.
I mean, at least you took the 3-0 versus EG, right? So you bounced back. I want to talk about what I discussed last week with Sven. And so if you haven't had the episode or seen the episode yet, basically what he was talking about was that it was very helpful to have an extra week going into the playoffs in order to discover this meta a little bit more, have more time to adapt. And he was very confident at the time that you guys had a good read on the meta. Did you share this enthusiasm that he had coming into the first week of competition here against FlyQuest?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some picks which we weren't sure if they were good or not, and we just needed a bit more time because with only like five games a day, it wasn't enough for us to like kind of figure out what was the best. So we kind of went with comfort on stage, I guess, and I think that's also why it led to us losing to Fly a bit as well. But I feel like this week we know it even better, and we're just playing to the strengths of the meta. So this weekend should be cleaner and better for us.
I think it was pretty apparent that you guys were shifting styles back to where you were more comfortable when it comes to the way, especially you were playing the bot lane. And I want to talk to you as like a mid laner, especially one that likes to roam heavily, what it means when you lose pressure in that bot lane, because you ran the Ezreal Yuumi the entire time during that FlyQuest series, which doesn't have a lot of pushing potential early, and you don't have necessarily the priority that you have in the bot lane, especially for you to roam and make plays and fight around Dragon. How do you have to play differently, even if you're on the same kind of champs like Twisted Fate or Galio, if the difference is you don't have like a Kalista in the bot lane, but you have an Ezreal Yuumi instead, which we saw was kind of the difference between the series?
I mean, I think definitely it changes the way you play as a mid, because when your bot pushes or when your bot can fight early, it changes the way you play. And I feel like usually with my playstyle, I like to either move or fight a lot and kind of just take 2v2s, 2v3s. But against Fly, I felt like I mostly had to farm and just share farm with PoE, which I wasn't really happy about. but yeah, I think we just had to adapt, and we failed at it on stage, I think, and it just didn't work out for us. So,
what were the conversations like over the FlyQuest series? Because it's interesting to me that you guys continued to kind of hammer away on the Ezreal Yuumi pick. Why didn't you think that was an issue as the series went on?
I mean, for us, I think it was really clear that we lost the games because we made the mistakes where we forced on channeled. We were just fighting no matter what. Like, for example, my Kali game, I was on weak side, and I kind of fought LeBlanc just for no reason. And then they were just snowballing every game like really fast, and I don't think it had anything to do with the Yuumi pick, in my opinion as well, because I feel like if we have any ball lane and we still fight at that timing against their champs, we'd still lose probably. So I think it was mostly a top side thing. I think it was mostly like a top side thing where, at least on my part, I felt a bit pressured to do stuff because nothing was happening in the game, and usually we get ahead early, so maybe that's also on me, but I don't think Yuumi is really that much of a blame, in my opinion. I think it's just us playing really bad that day.
One thing that happened in your last game versus FlyQuest in week 6 was that you guys fought this scuttle crab in bottom river at like level 3 in the game, and you lost that fight. And it was Jarvan that was being played by Blabber. And for me, that was sort of your like kind of Cloud9's problems in a nutshell, which is like you always take the fight as if you have the strong early game champs, even if you don't. And I think you probably should have lost that game versus FlyQuest, but they kind of threw. And then we see coming into this game right off the bat that you guys are fighting in the jungle at level 1 with like a Nocturne against, like a Thresh Ashe. And that's not going to do you any favors. So how are the comms in the team when this happens? Like, what is going on where you have to take every fight, even if you know, as we're discussing now, that maybe you should just play a little bit more patiently? Oh, no. I lost you. Oh, no. No. All right. I can't hear Nisqy right now, but we will wait for him to get the mic fixed right there. I'm sure we can pull up the clip as well once we get into this one. So this is the early level 1 invade, and I'm sure we'll get Nisqy back in a second. But as you can see, doesn't actually blow the Nocturne flash, but the result is about a minute later that Blabber's going to come in and go ahead and try and contest these Raptors, which seems like a bit of a fool's errand considering how many people are engaging on him and what the state of the game is. So give us a second, guys, to get Nisqy back on the line.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, good.
I
was like,
Yeah. Sorry, we lost you there for a second. We'll watch that play. So what was your response to what happens in the comms when you guys are like taking these fight?
Okay, so.
Because I know it's probably very frustrating for you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the early game ones where we lose the fights because either we made a mistake or they have stronger champs, I think it's not that bad. But like when we got invaded by FlyQuest level 1, for example, and Blabber was like, okay, if he invades me on my blue here, I'm really doomed. And if this happens, it's really hard. And the second he says it, they kill him at blue as well. I'm like, this game's gonna be so hard, And then everyone, I think Vulcan and myself were like, it's still fine. We can still scale, and they might make mistakes and stuff. But
sure.
We knew it was gonna be a hard one. So
let's take a look at that clip because I want you to. I know this sucks to watch, but I want you to walk me through it. Just because when we look at your composition, you guys are going to be incredibly strong late. You and Blabber can make big plays on the map once you hit 6. So it seems pretty clear that that's what your plan has to be. And what I don't get here, Nisqy, is what was going on when Blabber decides that he must fight the chickens. Like, why doesn't he just walk away into the topside jungle? Why does he just walk away? Why doesn't he walk away, Nisqy?
I have no idea, to be honest. The first thing Blabber said after this was like, yeah, guys, it's fun. I should have just given my Raptors. I don't know why I fought them. I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, no? And he was like, yeah. I was like, sure, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, Blabber is usually the type that like, if you invade him or if you fight him 1v1, even if he loses and stuff, he just fights you because he doesn't care, But yeah, I mean, we should have given these Raptors here.
I mean, yeah, and then the second part of this is obviously going to be super difficult as a result of the first part of it happening. You don't have much you can do here because you're just going to get pushed in by the Azir early, right? Like, what's your choice?
I mean, basically, for me, I told them it was going to be hard because I'm getting pushed in, and the only things we can do is either let him and let him figure out how to jungle, or we help him. But felt like in the moment I couldn't do anything because I'm playing TF early. I really cannot do anything. And then he just accepted it and he tried to farm as much as he could, and that's how we went with the game plan.
So obviously by setting him behind, this was pretty bad, but I talked to Power of Evil and SI yesterday, and it was really interesting to see how this was kind of a mirror of your previous game versus FlyQuest when we talked about the bot lane fight the bot river fight that happened earlier, which is that to me, it felt like FlyQuest was not only playing well against your composition that would struggle with that invade early, but almost playing like very intentionally against you guys as players, like knowing that Blabber would take any fight and then baiting him into these fights, right?
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I do think that they had like really good plans of like invading level 1, really playing aggressive, which For example, I don't think they ever did against us before. Even though like we didn't scrim them for like 2 months, I guess they they learn and like they do stuff that we did before as well. So I guess that's how they changed. But I feel like in a way, the only thing that they changed, I think, is the level ones. They got really better at it, and it showed in our series where they punished us, I think, 2 out of the 4 games, in my opinion. So, yeah, props to them for their level ones and just their champs and stuff in general.
One thing that I've noticed just in general about level ones is that we don't see them very often. Why do you think that is? Because in games like this, it shows how powerful they can be if, to put you completely off your game. And yes, they require additional practice, and yes, they require additional ideas, and you might not use them even if you prepare them. Is that one of the factors that causes them not to be used very often, or just in kind of high stakes, high preparation playoff matches? Why don't we see more level ones across the board?
I'm not so sure, to be honest. I think most teams are kind of okay with kind of just starting the game equally and normally because they think they might have a higher chance like that. And also, there's always that risk when like you invade and you fail at it, then it's kind of like it's your mistake, and then you made the choice to invade, and then you kind of get behind from it. So it kind of sucks, but I mean, usually when people have really better level ones, I think they invade still. I don't think it's done much in LCS. I feel like it's done in other regions a lot. So I'm not so sure why it's not really done that much in NA.
Do you guys ever have sessions where you practice level ones or where you're coming up with them? Or is that something that you guys haven't really focused on this year?
Not really. I mean, we know that when we have strong champs, then you sometimes invade and sometimes you don't. It just depends on Blabber and his pathing and on our laners usually.
So I want to take a look at the way you guys adapted between the FlyQuest and the EG series. So we can take a look at kind of your picks and the way you were drafting in FlyQuest. And we can see, we talked a little bit already about, taking the Ezreal Yuumi lanes for every single game. You were playing champions that, for the most part, you're known for, whether it's the Zoe or the Twisted Fate. Also the Akali, which I thought was an interesting pickup. But these are all, poke champions or roam-heavy champions, kind of the style that you like to play into these games, even though, as we discussed, you didn't necessarily have the priority in that bot lane. They also picked Shen every game, which caused a lot of cross-map plays, even though they were picking it into bad matchups versus Vladimir and Gangplank. So when you saw these drafts, what did you want to do, or personally as a player in these games? Where did you want to apply the pressure, and how did you want these games to shake out?
I mean, in my TF game, mostly just kind of chill and look at Shen if I can. They may be ball lane after 6, but mostly just playing side lane. I think with Nocturne was my goal that game, but sadly we didn't get to mid game.
Yeah, it was kind of doomed from the start, right?
Yeah. And then, I mean, just Zoe games are just kind of you group and then you try to poke, so nothing special in there. The Akali game was a bit special because they already had Shen and I needed a pick, and I thought Akali was the best there, so I just picked it. And yeah.
What situations do you like to play Akali in? Because it's a champ that we don't see as much compared to last year.
I mean, it just depends on what I think is my best pick, and I felt like right there in that spot, I thought Akali was pretty good for me. After the series, I was kind of wondering if it was actually my best pick, but yeah, I feel like kind of comfy on the champ, and if I think it's good, then I would just pick it, and Reaper usually trusts me as well, so yeah.
Let's move over to the EG series, because this is where we saw quite a bit of difference in the way you guys were playing. Not necessarily you. Obviously, you're just playing Twisted Fate all 3 of these games. But in the other lanes, it changed pretty significantly. In that Blabber's playing the Graves 2 of these games, so that's much more of a farming-based jungler. You see that you guys have the Callista in a couple of these games, which is going to provide a lot more early pressure. And it seems like this was a much better comfort for you guys overall. What were the discussions like, and what did you want to change? Was it Was it because you guys wanted to match EG better? Was this an EG specific plan, or was it because you guys just felt more comfortable on these picks?
I mean, after the series, I said, I think we should have my ball lane pushing or my ball lane kind of having like a fighting ball lane, if I may say, so that my pick is more impactful. And I feel like against EG it worked really well, where I snowballed bot or in the river, because my ball lane was pushing and just fighting and winning lane. So that was easier for me. And also, I also think that against EG, just kind of aggressive early game is usually good, because they like to fight a lot, and we know it from scrims and stuff, so we just picked strong champions, yeah.
You guys were less concerned with the Caitlyn in this series as well. You banned it in all your games versus FlyQuest, but you kind of let Bang have it here, especially in that game too, when it was available. How powerful is this pick right now? Because a lot of the conversation is about the Caitlyn versus Ashe in the bot lane, and how those are kind of the two AD carries that are defining the meta.
I think that just depends on my ball lane, if they want to play against it or not. I don't want to reveal too much, but it's just up to them. Either they want to give it or play it or just ban it. So.
Well, TSM also banned it quite a few times as well. So for me, that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to in your match versus TSM, is to see if either of you are going to let the Caitlyn through, because I think that's going to become a very impactful part of that draft process. But I can't ask you questions about that because I don't want you to reveal what's going on.
I don't want to reveal it.
Which definitely makes sense. Was the Shen causing you guys any problems this weekend? Because even though you had really good lane matchups against FlyQuest, and again here when Huni was playing the Shen, you played the Vladimir into it one more time, a lot of Solo's play was based around sacrificing himself in order to prop up other sides of the map, even if he was in that losing matchup. Have you guys been struggling with the Shen and the Shen ult?
Not necessarily. I think against Fly, yes, because I think we played really bad that day. But like, Licorice was doing a really good job in lane, and I think Eric was even up like half the CS of the enemy. I think Eric had like 120 and Solo at like 60, for example. And I feel like if there's a lane matchup that goes like this, then we should be able to win the game from it. So yes, it was an issue, but I think we kind of figured out on how to play against it now. And also against EG, I think they also played it one game where it looked pretty strong as well, but at the end we figured our way around it, and we still won that game. So yeah, I think Shen is decent right now, and we just have to play around it better, in my opinion.
Let's talk a little bit about the team atmosphere as we move on from these specific games. What was it like to be in the team house after your loss to FlyQuest, and what was your focus moving forward into the match against EG?
I think all of us were really shocked and kind of mad, because we all thought that we'd win against FlyQuest. We've had really good scrims. It kind of like always we're really confident going to the game, but I felt like that day really sucked, at least for me, where I felt like we didn't really play as we used to, and we all realized it by watching our VOD. We all realized, like, why the hell are we taking this fight here, or what the hell am I doing here in the side lane, or just random mistakes which led the game to really snowball, and we all know that we're better than that, so we just decided to kind of take it a bit chill against EG and just play our game, and it worked out really well against EG. So
yeah, that was one of the things, was that it definitely seemed more like C9 style up against EG, whereas FlyQuest was not what we're kind of used to seeing from you guys this year in 2020. Were you happy with the EG results? Was that an acceptable outcome for you, the 3-0? Some of the games were kind of close, but
I think it was fine, yeah. I think we didn't play like a 10 out of 10, but I feel like we played a decent League of Legends, and I'm just happy that it didn't go to like 5 games and we won because we got lucky or something. I think we did a decent job, yeah.
That's a shout out to the TSM Golden Guardian series, right? Winning because you got lucky.
Nah.
Really? You don't think TSM won Game 5 because they got lucky? I think they won Game 5 because they got lucky.
Maybe.
What's your evaluation as we look forward to this TSM game and having seen their 2 series versus Golden Guardians and their win versus Dignitas? Is this a team that you still think has a chance to beat you, or how confident are you going into the match?
I mean, it looks like my job is going to be really easy against TSM, is to not feed, and they will not win probably, because, I mean, that's what everyone does against them, where they ban 5 mids, and then their mid chills, and their whole team cannot carry, unless Bjerg is like 1v9. But I feel like, for me, that's not really an issue, because I know how Bjerg kind of plays, and I feel like I will match up pretty decent against him, so looks like TSM, if Bjerg doesn't carry, they will not win, so I hope I will not end that day. So actually, not I hope. I will not end that day.
There you go. I love the confidence.
For us to succeed.
So speaking of you versus Bjergson, we have some stats to look at. Are you excited? Microsoft
no.
gave us the stats for you and Bjergson. No, it's fine. So this is the entire summer split, including playoffs, with the exception, Nisqy, and I'm sorry this does hurt your stats a little bit, the exception of your last game versus EG that we couldn't get data from because it was a chrono break game. So it actually would improve your stats a little bit. But overall, I mean, your stats are very, I think this is a really interesting comparison. So one of the things I find interesting is like, you know, it really shows that you and Blabber are more aggressive early. If we look at the first blood kill assist percentage, you're way up on Bjergson at getting those early advantages, or at least getting an assist as first blood is taken. But you look at the overall kill participation percentage, you guys are nearly even, and you see Bjergson is taking a lot more of those kills compared to you. So what's fascinating is you guys participate nearly the exact same number of kills, but you're giving them away. You're very generous, Nisqy. Did you know that?
I feel like I'm not really that generous. I think my teammates are just taking them away from me. Like,
that's fair.
When you watch the TSM game, it's like there's a gang, or like they gang someone in the side lane, and like they're like, okay, Bjergson, you can have it. And like when it's us, it's like, give me the kill, give me the kill. I'm like, okay, it's fine, you can have it, you know?
Well, I also find it interesting, you guys have like approximately the same damage per minute, but his damage share is much greater because they as a team just kind of do less damage than you guys do as a team. So he ends up taking a greater share. But it's also curious because I think it shows Bjergson's style, which is that he has a high kill participation because he's grouping up a lot more, and it's not about the early game skirmishing, which leads to like first bloods, whereas you are helping across the map, but you're also getting those first bloods like a lot of the time, either as a kill or an assist. So I think this is just a really cool stats for the season that show kind of Bjergson more as the kind of late game carry team fight player, and you as the more proactive early game ganking player who's helping out the lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bjerg seems like he really wants to, at least right now, kind of carry the team. So he's taking the Azirs, the Orianas, kind of the scaling mids, which makes sense. But I feel like for me, I don't necessarily need to do that, at least right now. So I think we're going to play different champs probably during the series. And we'll see how he adapts to my champs and how I adapt to his champs. So it's going to be interesting, I see.
You know what's interesting to me, too, is that there's actually very little overlap in your champion pool with Bjergson. You guys play, like, really different styles.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think...
Except for maybe Syndra is probably the biggest overlap that you guys have, I would say.
I mean, I feel like just kind of our play styles are different as well, because...
Oh, super different.
How our teams work. I feel like he can probably play every champ I play. I can probably play every champ he plays, but he probably like doesn't want to play the like roaming champs because he might think his team might not like carry him and stuff like that. So
I mean, they won't. They won't. That's true. Yeah, we can just say they won't. I do want to take a look at Blabber's stats versus Pika, because are you a good detective, Nisqy?
Not necessarily, no.
I think even you can figure this out. So we have this great mystery right now called the case of the missing kills, where you have an extremely high kill participation, but you had, 40 less kills than Bjergson. Can you tell me where the kills went by looking at this?
Oh, it looks like blabberfishes. Well, looks like we know where they went, I guess.
Yes, I think we found them. I think we found the missing kills. They go to Blabber. Because you can see here what's funny about this graphic is like, so interestingly, Speak actually does have a very high first blood kill assist percentage, which if we compare it to the Bjergson stats means that he's not getting them with Bjergson's help or in Bjergson's lane. So that's interesting, right? That he is getting first blood a lot of the time, but it's usually in top or bot. And then comparatively, you see the kill participation. Speak again, because TSM likes to group up and fight late. Well, they've got that great kill participation, higher than Blabber, but Blabber has so many more kills. And also, you know, a higher DPM. And remember, Nisqy, Blabber's played 4 fewer games. I know it says 24 to 29, but we don't have one of those games. So he's played 4 fewer games. Those stats would be even higher if we included the game you guys played against EG. Let me see how many kills he had in that game real quick.
I mean, I know he had a 0-4 game, so. So I know that.
But in the last game versus EG, he had 8 kills. So you can add, he's at 100 in that last game versus EG. So that's really quite the difference. And I think it, again, shows the difference in style between you guys. Like his damage per minute much higher, his damage percentage much higher, because he's getting way more fed. So how is it for you guys, taking a look at these stats and keeping this in mind, how is it for you to be playing in the 2v2 in this matchup? Because you guys are just so different as teams.
I mean, for us, I don't think that we're going to play any necessarily like different champions or different play style because we play TSM. I think if we play our style, it should be working out against them, in my opinion. So me and Blabber are just going to do our things, and my top and ball lane will probably do their own things where they will either win lane or just do stuff in the game. And I feel like it should work against TSM. So,
I mean, I think you guys certainly, if you do what you did against EG, will have a strong shot. But when you're in the 2v2, what is going through your head when you play against Bjergson and Spica? What are you trying to do, and what are you trying to be careful of from Bjergson?
I mean, playing as Bjerg, at least for me, is just he doesn't usually make that many mistakes, and usually I try to read or like predict of what he's gonna do, and usually I feel like I'm kind of right on it, where I know he's gonna TP bot here, so I'm already like looking at it and then TPing right before the TPs, or kind of just expecting him to like room top, and then I already room top. So I feel like, I won't say that I have Bjergson like download it or whatever, but playing against him over the year, like 2 years, I guess, felt like I've learned a lot from him, and I kind of know how he works now. So I think we should be really fine against them. And also for the 2v2, I think Blabber has done a pretty good job against Spica in the past. So I wouldn't worry about that at all.
Let's take a look at your team stats over the course of summer, including the playoffs, because I think it also is really interesting to see, honestly, how poor TSM's objective control has been overall. They're well below you in terms of first dragon, overall dragon kills. This is a team that's won, you know, about 2/3 of their games, and yet they've only killed 50% of the dragons, and they're not really controlling the jungle when they get ahead. They have barely over 50% of total jungle camps taken, and that's including neutral minions like Dragon, Baron, Scuttlecrab, etc., Herald. Have you been, and you know, even in their win versus Golden Guardians, we saw them losing Dragon Soul in that last game, getting Baron stolen, like really having trouble securing these objectives. Is that a major weakness you see in TSM?
I'm not so sure, to be honest. I felt like against GGS they give up stuff for free, and then they just fought the fourth one, or they even give like Sol, I think, 2 of the games. So I'm not so sure why they prioritize Dragon so, how can I say, like
low.
They don't really care about it as much compared to other teams. But yeah, seems to be working for them. So let's see if you can get some salts. I mean, they won against GGS, so
they did win, but I wouldn't call that a confident win or a game that necessarily they should have won given what happened, right? like, credit to them that they found a way to win in those circumstances, but it's not like they made it easy on themselves, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think their games, they just won because they were technically better mechanically, I think, and because the enemy team made lots of mistakes, which is a play style to play, but I feel like if we get the Ocean Soul or some other souls against them, I don't think we'll throw the game, and if we do, then shame on us.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. What were your thoughts of the Zilean pick? Because that was a hot topic of debate in Game 5. We can move away from the stats, yeah. It's a pocket pick for Bjergson, always has been. I wasn't a big fan of the composition it was picked into, just because I always think there has to be some other way to carry the game. What are your thoughts on Zilean as a champ right now in terms of viability, and where would you play it if you were to?
I mean, I think Zilean is playable right now. I feel like it's actually decent in the meta, but I'm not scared of it. I think usually mid laners don't really care about Zilean because you kind of get a free lane, but it's just as a team if you care about it or not. And I'm not so sure if we will ban it or not against Bjerg, but I mean, when he gets it, it's for sure kind of his best pick, in my opinion, or his comfort pick, I guess. And I feel like giving Bjerg Zilean in Game 5 is just a mistake because he's done it so many times before where he just 1v9s the game when he's on Zilean, and I feel like GG giving him Zilean was just terrible.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, let's take a brief break, guys, as we take a look at the roundup. When we get back, we'll do the Puma giveaway, and then we'll potentially take some questions in Twitch chat for Nisqy, so you can abuse his brain by asking all of your wonderful questions. We'll be back in just a second.
Howdy there, buckaroos and buckarettes, and welcome to another edition of the Cloud9 Roundup, here on the Nines, presented by AT&T. Up first, plenty of League of Legends news this past week, but not all of it was good for you Cloud9 fans. Of course, Cloud9 LCS, well, they took a tough loss up first against FlyQuest 1-3, but it's double elimination, so their hopes aren't over yet. They beat Evil Geniuses in that loser's bracket to keep their hopes alive, and as you well know, they'll be playing up against TSM for a spot at the World Championship for League of Legends this next week, and to have the chance to defend their spring split title. Best of luck to you, LCS boys. Now, the Academy team, well, they haven't needed much luck. They beat CLG Academy 3-0 this week to advance to the Academy Summer Split Finals up against TSM Academy. It's their chance to go back-to-back as well. That'll do it for our League of Legends league. Now, if you're one of those Cloud9 fans with a predilection towards a little bit of gunplay, well, you might have been following the Counter-Strike team's news this past week. They lost 1-2 to Team Liquid in the ESL 1 Cologne 2020 North American side, but they won 2-1 versus Triumph, and they'll be playing up against the Team Liquid this next week, see if they can advance further. That's about it for the esports news, but we do have a little bit of news from the C9 organization. Welcome to Portia, our newest pro Hearthstone Battlegrounds and TFT player, and also to our brand new C9 Valorant Korean roster, Doya, Munchkin, Bezzy, Trimuthi with head coach Autumn. Might have recognized some of those names from the Overwatch League, but they're on Valorant now. Now, you'll probably want to watch some of our Pop Flash Valorant Ignition series this next week, because yours truly is running it and producing it, and Cloud9, well, they're a partial owner in B-Side, which is running the tournament. Now, Cloud9 is going to start up against Dignitas in Group A alongside TSM and Gen G. Will be a GSL-style bracket with the top 4 teams heading on to those playoffs, so good luck to C9. We're also premiering our second episode of Presence of Mind, created with our partner Kaiser Permanente on August 26th. Our host Aaron Ashley Simon and C9 League of Legends members Licorice, Chrissy, and Vincent will talk about what mental health practices they used to do well on the Rift. Finally, this episode of Connecting with Cloud9, presented by AT&T, features our World of Warcraft team talking about how they prepared for the Arena World Championship. That'll be on August 22nd. So, be sure to catch all that action. Until next time, let's get back to the Nines presented by AT&T.
Nisqy, I know that you're super excited about this Valorant tournament that I'm running this next week, right? You're definitely going to watch, when you're not playing, right? You're definitely going to watch Pop Flash and see your Cloud9 friends competing in it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, I've been watching some games of our C9 team. I think the guy that's like kind of always smurfing his tens, I think.
Yeah, he's
Like,
pretty damn good.
He's like 1v9. So yeah, I mean, Valorant is fun to watch. So sometimes I watch sometimes.
Yeah, it's gonna be extra good this week because we're gonna all be in studio, got some awesome features. It's definitely gonna be like the best Valorant tournament so far. So I know you're gonna be really excited about watching, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope everyone will watch it as well.
Excellent. And Cloud9 will win, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, excellent. And you'll also win. So we'll have 2 Cloud9 wins this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we'll win for sure. I don't know about our Valorant team.
Fair enough. Okay, so Puma, giveaway. If you are living in North America, not in Europe, or Asia, or Africa, or any other continent, so only the continent of North America, Brazilians, you can't win, I'm sorry. You must also be over the age of 18. So no minors, can't have that. You don't have to be able to drink. You don't have to be 21, but you do have to be 18. You may type #Puma in chat, and our mods will select a winner from the chat and let you know, and you will get a Puma gift card. So that's very exciting. What's your favorite piece of merch from the summer collection? What have you been wearing, Nisqy?
Of Puma or of C9?
of Puma and C9. You guys got a bunch of new merch at the start of summer.
I mean, I think that I'm getting so much merch, and I feel like, I don't know, like every day or like every 2 weeks, it's like I'm getting like 10 new shirts or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how am I even going to use them? And I feel like lately, it's like I'm using a shirt, and then after 3 or 4 days, it gets washed, right? And I just use it again, and I feel like I just have too much, so it actually doesn't matter what I wear right now. But I'm not so sure, to be honest, what's the best. I feel like everything is kind of decent.
When are you going to start giving away Nisqy's game day shirts on your social media?
I thought about like giving away some of my Puma stuff because I have so much,
I mean, just for, purely for the fans, all I'm saying is like, grab a Sharpie, sign some of those, and when you beat TSM, you can do a giveaway for the winning shirt from that got you guys to Worlds, right?
True,
your fans
that'd be
will
cool.
love it. Your fans will love
true.
it.
Nice idea, Monte. I will do it. It's fine.
I'm good at promotion, what can I say? All right, if you guys have questions for Nisqy, go ahead and start dropping them into chat now that we actually have, the Puma spam probably mostly done. Anything that you're looking forward to for the rest of the playoffs? You guys still think you have a strong chance to win overall, seeing how Team Liquid and FlyQuest and TSM are performing right now?
I mean, yeah, I think we're still confident that we will win the split. It just comes down to us if we can perform or not on stage. So for me, at least, I'm confident that we'll perform, and I think we're still going to make it to finals. But yeah, we will have to see.
So here's a good question from Naja Fan, one of my favorite people on the internet. Given the meta changes, has Nisqy been watching a mid laner in solo queue or pro view like he did with Doenby to better adapt to the changes? Have you been doing a lot of VOD reviews recently of players around the world now that we've seen like LPL playoffs start and everything?
Yeah, I'm a player. I watch Knight from LPL. I watch Showmaker and Chovy in the LCK. And I also watch some closer VODs. Not the jungler for GGS, but the mid laner of SKT. And yeah, they all have some different idea on how to play the game, and I think it's really interesting to see how people kind of changed their way this meta.
Speaking of closer with the Z from T1, what are it's been kind of controversial to put him in instead of Faker so far this season. What are your thoughts on him as a player, considering he's a relatively new face in League of Legends?
I mean, he seems pretty good, where he knows how to play his lane, he knows when he should pressure, and I feel like his mechanics are just on top. So yeah, I think it's a great pickup from SKT, and the question is everyone asking themselves is he better than Faker? I feel like for T1's playstyle right now, probably, but in general, I think Faker should be better still, but looks like Closer working out better for them. So.
Here's a good question. We're seeing picks like Evelynn, Kha'Zix, Kindred, Nico in the other regions. So specifically, like we've seen a lot of the Evelynn, Kha'Zix, Kindred in LPL, and then we also saw G2 running the Eve this past week, and also, you know, although it's kind of hard to say that Nico's being used like a lot because that was always like a pocket pick for Wunder, and he's used it before. So I'm not sure I totally buy into the Nico stuff as opposed to just being like G2 style. But what are your thoughts on some of these picks, especially the junglers?
I mean, it looks like people are kind of going back to carry junglers with like Evelynn, Kha'Zix and stuff. So I feel like it's decent in the meta right now, where your junglers can usually farm a lot, and if you play around it, then the jungler is really strong, because jungle is not a balanced role, as we all know. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how people are going to probably pick up some of the LPL champs, and yeah.
Here's a good question, because we've seen this in multiple regions. We're seeing a rise in mid-Lucian, including you actually had it played into you when you were playing Twisted Fate by EG and Golden Glue this past week. What are your thoughts on kind of these very lane-dominant mid laners, or having to play into Lucian, which I know is a pain in the ass?
Yeah, I feel like Lucian right now is decent in the meta, where for me, Lucian, one bad thing about it is that like you have to be really confident on it, because if you make one mistake, then you're kind of out of the game, where on stage, usually it's harder to execute because everyone plays safer, and like you have to be really careful of what you do, because it's not like in scrims where everyone fights you 24/7 and like your champion feels like OP or whatever. But I feel like if you're confident on it and you know that you can carry the game with it, then it's good. But I feel like it's not that easy to execute on stage. But we might see it from me this week. You will see.
Here's a good question. You spoke earlier in the show saying that you felt like scrims had been going very well leading into this last weekend of games. How's scrims been going this week?
I mean, we've only scrimmed once this week. I think it was yesterday.
Yep.
And it went pretty great. So, yeah. I think it was a 4-1 day yesterday. So, yeah.
Will you ever play Galio again, is a question here.
Yeah, I mean, if I see the opportunity and I think it's good, I will definitely pick it. In the last series, I actually didn't play Galio much, but just felt like other picks were better than it. So,
if you make it to Worlds, what are 3 teams you want to avoid in the group stage? Like, if you could pick 3 teams that wouldn't be in a group with you, who would they be?
and I hope we're not with top esports, because I think they're insane. I think Damwon is the other one that's really scary right now, and
G2?
Probably G2. Yeah, I think these are the top 3 teams right now, in my opinion. I mean, some of the LPL teams, like, I'm not sure. I think IG, for example, looked weak, and I think they might not even make it. Same for FPX, sadly. So, yeah.
Well, you know what, Nisqy? If all of those 3 teams win in their various region, and you win, you don't have to play them in groups.
True.
I was going to put that out there. You know, you can affect this if those other teams win their finals, right? Which I think you'd have to say those are all the favorites to win their various regions at this point in time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, G2, I think in Europe looks like they're really good. I mean, it looks like Schalke can maybe do something, but G2 will probably come up on top. And then LPL is always weird, because I feel like when it's the big game and like finals and stuff, some teams really show up. And I feel like this year, I mean, should be top in my opinion, but you never know, right?
I mean, I thought Top should have won the spring LPL finals, but they lost to themselves. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it really changes. And I feel like LCK, I think maybe SKT can actually do something, because they look really good with Closer. And even though Damwon is really good right now, I feel like SKT can maybe catch up. So
here's a good question from the Earl of March to both you and me. Given the itemization relaunch coming next season, is there an itemization gap you'd like to see filled? I don't have any inside information. Has Riot shared any details about the itemization with pro players yet?
No, I don't think I didn't get anything yet. So
Okay.
But I feel like I actually thought about an item that I felt like mid laners needed, but we didn't have it. But I completely forgot about it right now. So
Is it for you? Does it like teleport you into top or bottom lane?
I thought I needed something. I think it's like a better MR item instead of Banshees. But
Is it an item that makes you and your jungler stronger if you're together in a 2v2? That sounds like a cool item for you. Like you like bond to your jungler, but it can only be the two of you within like a certain radius, and it just like gives you like adaptive scaling, right?
that'd be cool, to be honest.
And actually, that's not a bad idea. It kind of would be cool,
Yeah.
right? Because
It's actually decent, yeah.
it would encourage skirmishing and not be as useful if you guys were in like a 5v5.
True.
I'm great at this. I'm great at the Empower C9 items. Not joking, though. One of the things that has always, for me, been one of the big sticking points, and I have to say, like, I have always thought that itemization was the weakest part of League of Legends as a game, especially if you compare it to other MOBAs like Dota, or even when I was casting Vainglory, and I know you guys will laugh at the mobile game, but the itemization system was legit way better than League of Legends because it allowed more various build paths and kind of to really customize your loadout to the character that you were playing. And what I would like to see there's two things. Please, for the love of God, get rid of crit. I hate RNG in games. You got rid of dodge. You got rid of all of these other RNG factors within League of Legends. Please get rid of crit. It is stupid. My other problem is that items, especially on AD carries, have always been kind of shit because it's all about, they're basically just stat sticks, right? They don't do anything interesting or they don't lead to various build paths. So what I'm really hoping with itemizations is the biggest overall haul comes in the AD carry perspective and that we get more activatables or unique items across the board. Like I want way more activatable items like Dota has because they make a much bigger difference in the way that it's not only like would give you different build paths, it's like the way you play the same champ changes so much when you have different activatables, right? And we already see that to a certain degree with like Proto Belt or GLP or these kind of items, but it could be way more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought. But like, for example, I know that Showmaker always goes Pro Belt on Zoe, and then I was wondering why, and then I figured out that his Q, when he ults and stuff, his range is just longer. And I feel like just mechanics like that makes champions more viable and more powerful as well. So I feel like adding items like kind of the Proto Belt. I mean, the only one that comes to mind right now for me is the Proto Belt, where you can use it in so many different ways. So like either dodge stuff or get a gap closer or dodge ganks, stuff like that. So yeah, I'd like having more activable items for sure. I think it makes the game way more fun. Back when I think it was DFG was in the game. You're playing LeBlanc and you would one-shot people with it.
I have a soft spot in my heart for DFG because that was when Faker was going bananas on people, so I always enjoyed it. Here's a cool question because you can actually talk about this because we're not going to see it in the LCS playoffs. What do you feel about Yone or Yone or however you're supposed to pronounce it in the mid lane? Because it's not activated for you guys. You guys can't play it right now, but have you tried it out in solo queue at all, or what are your general opinions of its strength?
I mean, I faced it, I think, once I played against it. It seems pretty OP to me. Seems like it's just Yasuo, but just like 5 times better.
You mean
it should be
Yasuo
OP, right?
with a Z ult on a normal ability?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't even really have to have skill to get the knock-up combo? Yeah,
the champ is
seems
I don't know. The champ is too OP, I think. That's why they're also disabling it for Worlds, right? But yeah, I think for me, I'm just permabanning it from now, because playing against it is useless, and also having it on my team is kind of useless, because it's not going to be in my stage games, so...
Sure.
Yeah. I think it's pretty sad still that there's a champ that got released, and we can't even, play it, so we have to permaban it, but that's how it is.
I mean... there's not much you can do about it with the release cycle. It is. I didn't hear that. It is definitely banned for Worlds.
Yes, I think we're not allowed to play it for Worlds.
Okay, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that because I think I'm scared of that champion personally. let's see here. Let's see if we have any other good questions. A lot of people are saying Abadage in kind of joke form, but when you watch Schalke, that has been like such an insane turnaround from that one player over the course of just the summer split. What are your thoughts on Abadage as a mid laner? Because he was pretty terrible, only a few weeks ago, and now he's looking really good individually.
I think it's the changes of the jungle, where I'm not sure what jungle he had before Gilius, but I don't think Gilius was there the whole split, right? Or was he?
No, he was substituted in.
Yeah, I think when Gilius came in, I felt like Abadai kind of really changed, because I'm pretty sure that Gilius gives his mid like a lot of confidence, and that's how he always worked, where he's like, we're gonna shit on the enemy team, they're so bad, and like we're with this mid 2v2, and I feel like Abadaiga, when he's confident, is a really scary player with his like Zoe and like Akali, LeBlanc, like just these aggressive picks. And I feel like you need to have like a jungle synergy to play these champs. So yeah, I think he's done really well right now, and I hope he succeeds, because I thought he always was like a great player even when he was not in the LEC before. So
activated by the jungler. A lot of people are also asking about Akali and the current power of Akali. You played her, didn't go great, but other regions.
Yeah.
Other regions.
We won that game. We won. Okay.
You did in spite of you. Yes. But what are your general thoughts on Akali in this current meta and where she's most useful?
I think it just depends on what the team needs from you. I feel like Akali has always been like okay in the meta, where you could just pick it, but you don't really do much till you reach your power spike. But yeah, I think she's okay in the meta right now. She also got some buffs, so I wouldn't be surprised if some teams pick it up slowly. I mean, we've already seen it in the LCK, I think. So yeah, I think people play it more and more, and I'm excited because if Akali comes back, that means that melee matchups also come back, and that's going to be exciting for Worlds. So,
do you like those matchups?
Yeah, I think they're fun to watch, they're fun to play, and they add aggressivity to the game. So,
let's talk a little bit about Evelynn, because that was an LPL pick and then came into the LEC with G2. Or I'm sorry, with Fnatic picking it up rather. When we saw Selfmade do very well on that champ, and for me, I think Evelynn's really strong right now, but hasn't been picked up by all of the regions. Is there a reason why you think this is?
I'm not so sure, to be honest. I think it's a decent pick as well. Maybe people didn't know about it before. That's why it took some time. Also, it's not like some teams, like some of the top teams that play it, where you need like AD in the solo lanes usually as well.
Yeah.
Not every team can do it. So yeah, I think it will definitely get picked up by other teams, in my opinion, because they look pretty decent in every game, so it would make sense.
So a couple final questions about Academy. Do you think there are any Academy players in NA that people should be keeping an eye out for if you've been watching those games or scrimming against any of those teams that have impressed you?
I think for our team, it's mostly, I think Fudge is pretty good, and I think Parfox is pretty decent as well. When we scrim them, I feel like me and Parfox actually learn from each other, whereas I feel like if I scrim any other Academy team, I wouldn't really learn from their mid. Also, I think other players, on top of my head, I'm thinking of, what's his name? I think Kenvi from 100 Thieves. I always thought he was good. Then apart from him, I'm not necessarily sure.
Fair enough. All right, we'll end with one final question. I think I know the answer to this, but if you were to role swap, if you had to play a different position besides mid lane, what would you play?
Surprisingly, I think AD.
Really?
I feel like
that seems like not your style at all.
No, I feel like, okay, I think it might have been jungle, but I feel like ADC is like so chill, right? Like you're in lane, you farm, you support does all the laning usually, you just farm for your items, and then you're just strong. I feel like when you play mid, it's like you have to worry about ganks and like roaming and like TPs and everything. But like as an AD, I feel like you can just play with your mechanics and just chill. So I'd say AD just to chill a bit.
Fair enough. That's not the answer. I expected jungle. That's not the answer I expected. But you just want to turn your brain off and farm like an AD.
Yeah, but it seems good, no?
I can't argue with that. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week, Nisqy, and thank you all for watching the Nines presented by AT&T here on the Cloud9 channel. We are going to be back next week with some of the Academy players because it will be, in fact, after the Academy finals. So if you are a Cloud9 fan, you have that to look forward to. In case you didn't know, it is the Academy Finals. It is C9 versus TSM Academy this coming week, which should be very exciting in addition to watching TSM lose to Cloud9 and LCS, right? Cloud9 is going to beat TSM twice this week, correct?
Yes, at least once.
That is, TSM losing once is always fun for me. TSM losing twice, well, it's a beautiful thing. So you make sure that happens for me so I can be happy, okay?
I will.
Okay, thanks, Nisqy. And we will see you guys next week.